All right, so my computer camera is not working, so this is the best you're going to get. I got my Michigan shirt on. You know what the topic's going to be about. What happened after that game on Saturday night overshadows everything. Overshadows the outcome of the game. Overshadows the fact that Michigan's 8-0. Overshadows the fact that Michigan's red zone offense is abysmal. Overshadows the fact that Michigan State's now 3-5 and in crisis mode. All of that is overshadowed because what happened is bigger than football, bigger than the game itself. And before I make my point, if you are a Michigan State fan that has taken responsibility for the players' actions, has not deflected, has made those 10 guys and the guy who got beat up the main point of everything that you've said, then I suggest that you get off this video because I know that there's good Michigan State fans out there. Lots of them. I know a lot of them. And a lot of them are really good people. So this doesn't apply to you. But there's a faction of your fan base that I'm going to call out. So get off this video. Don't watch the rest of it. That's what I would recommend. This doesn't apply to you. As for those 10 players, or however many it was, and for Mike Valenti and Rico Beard and all the MSU slappies defending them, you know what? You are little brother. And I hate using that term. I believe that it set fuel to the fire. It gave Michigan State a motivational edge. But you know what? This is different now. You are little brother. You know why? Because your fan base and your players showed the emotional maturity of a child. Blaming the tunnel, blaming Jim Harbaugh, doing everything except for accepting the fact that you guys hit one of our players in the head with a helmet. That has never happened in the history of this team. Never. This is totally different. I don't want to hear, oh, there was a fight with Penn State. Oh, there was a fight with a verbal scuffle does not compare to that. This is a totally different issue. Totally different. I don't want to hear about what James Franklin said last week. You know what? I'm sorry that Fielding Yost couldn't predict that James Franklin and some of you MSU fans and players could have the emotional maturity of a 2-year-old. Your players are throwing food at our players. Yeah, you know what? There's going to be a verbal scuffle. I don't care what happens. That's not the tunnel's fault. That's your fault. And I will say this. Does the security team need to do a better job at Michigan? Yes. I think that we need to get more young, athletic guys, making sure that everyone goes into the locker room separately because the fact is there's been a few of these verbal scuffles. But you know what? This is totally different. This wasn't a verbal scuffle. This wasn't some minor incident. And some of you Ohio State fans, you need to check yourself too. Basically what you're saying with how Jim Harbaugh stirs everything up and he had this coming. So you're saying that if after Woody Hayes tore down the banner, you're saying that the team should just ganged up on him and beat him up? That's not how this works. That's emotional reasoning of a child. And I don't want to hear, oh, I don't excuse the player's actions, but I'm hearing a lot of buts. And not the kind of buts that I like. I tell you that right now. But the tunnel doesn't separate the teams. But he was leaving for the locker room early, which we don't know why. Was he stirring up trouble? Maybe. But it's very possible he couldn't have been either. That's speculation. What isn't speculation, though, is the fact that he got hit in the head with a helmet. And now Gemon Green might be out for next week. That's a very key player for us. So you know what? All the deflection, not taking responsibility for your actions is what a little child would do. And therefore, you are little brother. I'm not talking about the good Michigan State fans. I'm talking about the ones like Mike Valenti and Rico Beard and all the people on Twitter. They know exactly who they are. I don't want to hear about Juwan Howard. I don't want to hear X, Y, and Z. You know what? I did not defend Juwan Howard, and I did not blame guard at all. And even that was not even close to this incident. Not even close. There is no comparison. This is an incident like we haven't seen before. This is unprecedented, whether you want to admit it or not. Quit blaming the tunnel and realize that your 10 players had the emotional maturity of a 2-year-old. And I'll tell you what, those 10 players, you guys are a bunch of cowards. You want to fight when the game's over against one guy? when none of his players are there to defend him. I'll tell you what, if our offensive line was there, you guys would have been thrown all over the place. You guys are a bunch of cowards, and I hope you enjoy getting kicked off the team. Now, as for the university and as for Mel Tucker, I don't think they've done anything wrong yet. I think Tucker issuing a statement on Sunday morning was great. He already suspended 4 players, and I don't mind them taking a little bit of time to make sure they get this right, because we want to make sure that we hold the right players accountable, because not the entire team did it. Now, some players could have stepped in, some players maybe didn't do what they needed to do, but the fact is the blame lies solely on those players beating up McBurrows and Green. Solely. So I don't think they've done anything wrong. I think Kevin Warren and the authorities are going to do it. And I think Jim Harbaugh is not wrong saying that an apology is not enough. More needs to happen. I totally agree. The fact is, someone threw a helmet at one of our players and gang beat them up almost like a street fight. That is absolutely unacceptable. Cannot happen. And I'm livid because I don't want to see that happen to anybody, much less someone on my team. Those 10 players are lucky that no one else was there for Michigan, because they would have done exactly what they did on the field. Beat your butt. I guess if there's one thing good that comes out of this for Michigan, I've always felt like Michigan kind of lacks the competitive fire in this game. You know, Michigan State treats this game like it's Super Bowl, which is understandable. We're their main rival. Sometimes Michigan kind of comes into this game like a deer in the headlights, kind of not ready to play. It's kind of a weird situation. Well, like how Mike Hart's little brother comment stirred everything up in this rivalry, this is the little brother comment on steroids. No longer will this Michigan team come out coy and observant into this game. This U of M team next year is going to be out for blood. Because this team, once you come after one of our players, then it gets personal. This is personal. And this is 20 times worse than what Mike Hart or Jim Harbaugh, anything that anyone has ever said. This is a new low. And you know what? I'm unsubscribing to the ticket. And Mike Valenti and Rico Beard. Shame on both of you. Every Michigan fan should do the exact same, because these guys don't want to take responsibility for what their team did. They want to say, oh, X, Y, Z, but. This isn't Southern Exposure in West Virginia. This is a football podcast. So you know what? This is a new era of this rivalry. No longer is Michigan going to be the nail. Well, I hope for those of you State fans still listening, I hope you guys enjoy sitting at home for the holidays. And I hope you have a good time with your losing record. You all have a good rest of your day. Thank you. Take care.